Good morning and welcome into it's week 8 already of the season. We are here this morning to help you get your lineup set, ready to roll with our suggestions. Whether you're 3-7, 4-3, trying to get back into that playoff contention, or you might be 5-2, 6-1, or even 7-0, looking to lock up that first round bye. Jake and I are here this morning to help you out with your lineup suggestions. We're going to help you out the best that we can. Jake, how are you doing this morning?
Jeff, I'm not doing too bad. It's great. It's great to be back in the seat with you as always. I wish I had one of those 7-0 teams you were describing. I don't feel like most of my teams stop at, counting my wins on one hand. But things are great. Always happy to chop it up and talk ball with you. I love to hear some of the questions where people are at. And hey, maybe someone out there struggling just like me, and we can commiserate together. So
misery loves company, right? Isn't that how it goes?
That's what they tell me.
Yeah. So Jake, before we dive in today, I know before the show we were kind of talking about, some of the names this week. Every week it seems to be there's a flavor of the week, EJ Speed or whoever it might be. Every week there's like a player of the week. This week you're probably going to have a lot of questions about two players. Had a lot of drama in New York finally end with Hassan Reddick finally having his deal. Kind of a short-term Band-Aid, signed a 1-year, finished out the year. And then at the end of the season, we'll see where we're at kind of deal. The Jets did waive his $12 million in fines, I guess. So if you're a Hassan Reddick manager, are you confident in him in this week, or are you holding off?
So, part of the conversation we had earlier, right? We were talking about some of our own lineups or players, right? Week 8, we have no buys this week, right? So that's something where Reddick is, if you're truly in a pinch, right? Your lineup's just decimated, nothing on the waivers, deep benches, whatever it is, and you just don't seem to have it. I can see it in an absolute pinch, right? However, I mean, there's something to be said about being up to game speed, play game shape. And I'm very, very uncomfortable with him being at that situation. And you've had players like Will McDonald step up. Unfortunately, I know they lost Jermaine Johnson, so they could really use a guy like prime Reddick to step in there and help out. But I just, matchup or not, like whatever the situation is, I'm really hesitant to put him into my lineup. And I'll just kind of piggyback off that. Foye coming off of IR, that's the guy we were talking about. Same thing, right? They were starting to rotate pretty decently already there. Foye and Devin Lloyd were not 95 to 100% snap guys when they were healthy, and Ventrell Miller was healthy, and Chad Moon was all healthy, right? So who knows what he's going to look like coming back, right? And I would play something that we have a lot more confidence and I would say upside in at this point. Let them prove it to us that they belong into our lineup first, and then we'll go from there.
Yep. And actually, Foye was my follow-up question to that. So knocked them both. And so, like you mentioned, oddly, in week 8, we don't have any London games. We don't have any bye weeks. Yeah. Just kind of like this weird anomaly in the middle of the season where we're kind of between two bookends, of bye weeks and London games and early starts. So we only have one game out of the way already on Thursday night. So hopefully you didn't start Quinton Lake or Cameron Curl and are chasing already, because I know I am. So
maybe you started Byron Young and got away with one.
Wink, wink. Or I did have Ivan Pace in the lineup, so that was pretty nice. So we'll go with that. Yeah. So, all right, Jake, we're going to dive into these questions that are starting to come in here. It's been interesting. The last few weeks, we have a plethora of offensive questions starting to sprinkle in. We had a couple quarterback questions even last week. So, hey, bring it. First question, Carter, big friend of the show. Do we trust Quinnen Williams, or should I start Javon Kinlaw? He outscored Williams so far this season. So, we just kind of mentioned the Jets with getting Hassan Reddick back, and probably Kinlaw is going to be more impacted by snaps than Quinnen Williams will be. The last time both of these players played the Patriots, they both had a sack. And so, and that was only a couple weeks ago in week 3 or week 4. So we're looking at this. I personally trust Quinnen Williams more. He has, I don't want to say a higher floor, but he's probably got a little bit higher upside. I think he has more sacks than Kinlaw does this season. So I'm gonna trust Kinlaw or Quinnen Williams this week. With Kinlaw there, I think Hassan Reddick probably eats into his snaps just a little bit. Probably not a ton this first week, but it's such a good matchup versus the Patriots.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. I get the question here, right? You want to kind of target that matchup, and it is a really good one. Quinnen Williams is just provides consistently more pressure, right? He's got a consistently better win rate. I get that. Sometimes at the end of the day, what matters the most is what they put up in the box score. So it's hard not to see what Kinlaw has done above Quinnen Williams. But I just range of outcomes, I'm leaning into Quinnen at this point. Yeah, I think maybe the floors are maybe a little closer than we'd expect, but Williams clearly has the better upside. So, and I don't know, having that 20, 25 points go off on your bench when all of a sudden he's got a strip sack or, whatever big play in the backfield somehow, it's like, yeah, I got to have Q in my lineup.
Do you think we'd be having Hassan Reddick conversations this week if they weren't playing the Patriots?
I would think not, again, with no buys. That's the biggest thing
Yeah.
for me this week because you have so many options. Even if it's on your waiver wire, then right, you should be able to find someone that you can go stream a matchup that's just, I think, overall better opportunity.
Yeah, totally agree. Carter's got a defensive back question here too. He needs to start two of these. So Kool-Aid McKinstry, Keyshawn Nixon, Tyreek Stevenson, Derek Stingley. You need to pick two of those. So, obviously Kool-Aid McKinstry is going to be stepping up a lot here now with the injury to Adebo in New Orleans. So he's going to be, kind of one of those waiver wire darlings. I think probably a good streaming option for the rest of the season. Nixon's kind of had that up and down season so far of the pack. He, when Jair Alexander was out, he played a lot of the outside spot. We haven't seen that return on that return yardage that we were all kind of banking on this Steven. Stevenson's coming back after being away for a couple weeks, but he gets a really nice matchup. It sounds like Jaden Daniels is going to play. And so that might be a nice spot start for him. And then Stingley's always just pretty consistent for your Texans there. So
yeah.
Jake, who you got? Who's your one?
Stevenson stands out to me right away.
Yep.
He's got the volume. He's produced consistently for us this year and and even last year as well at times. Very, very good performer from the cornerback position. To me, McKinstry, I'm really hesitant in that matchup against the Chargers. They've proven that they want to run the ball. They want to control the clock. The game gets really shortened in the sense of number of plays ran. So now you're talking an outside corner. We don't know what we're getting, and now limited opportunities. I'm very hesitant there. Derek Stingley, he hasn't really done much. He's had relatively, I'll say, above average to strong games, except for I think a couple weeks. Unfortunately, one against the Packers, he looked kind of poor. And I don't know what we're going to get for volume from this Colts offense too. When you look at what Anthony Richardson can do or not do, sometimes the Colts aren't on the field very much and offensively. And if that's the case, that's limited opportunities for Stingley. So I'm almost to the point of by elimination, I'm going to go Nixon just because he's getting the volume of snaps. There's a chance he could get some into the slot role if they, for some reason, alignment wise or package wise, he gets slotted in there. Bullard just doesn't make the field because they're going with some different look or whatever it is. But, he's consistent and there's at least the potential for the return yard. So Stevenson's a lock and Nixon's kind of a hesitant 2A, B, C, level player. They're all kind of in the a mix there for me. So long-winded answer, but that's where I land.
Yeah, I'm with you on those two spots starts too. I think that both opposing offenses provide a little bit higher floor, maybe a little bit more sustained drives possibility there. But yeah, so I was just trying to think of other options, like maybe like a Kobe Bryant is available, for Seattle. If that's a player in his league that's available right now, they get a great matchup versus Buffalo. He filled in amazingly well last week for Keyshawn or Rayshawn Jenkins.
Yep.
So that would be
and I would love that above Keyshawn Nixon too. So that's an excellent call out.
Yeah. There's Mr. Roguru. Good morning to you. Little moose jaw here. We got starting two linebackers, two defensive backs, and a flex. My linebackers are EJ Speed, Zach Bond, Kyle Hamilton, Winfield, and Ernest Jones. On my bench, I got Okereke, Brian Branch. Sacks are 5 points, 2 tackles for each. We got to find a way to get Branch in this lineup.
Dude, I think he's in my flex.
I do too. I think Ernest Jones is going to a new team.
Yep. Yep, exactly. Exactly, right? You know, I was going through this and I'm like, oh, this isn't that hard. Ernest Jones, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, that's right. He's musical chairs here. He's rolling all over the place. He's gonna hit all 32 stadiums before the year's done. So yeah, I mean, speed is locked in. He's healthy. He's 100% linebacker. He's set. So really, it comes down to me. You know, do you like Bond or Okereke? Bond obviously started off the season hot, had some splashy games, really made a name for himself, and is really kind of, I don't want to say faded fully, but right, he's definitely just kind of been, you know, he falls into his 7 tackles a game. Really hasn't, you know, made much of a name for himself after the fact, but I think that's probably who I'm going to land with, just because Okereke is just really. Wait, no, is Bond out this week? Is he dealing with an
No,
injury?
he's cleared to play. He's cleared. He's cleared.
He is cleared to play now.
He's
Okay.
good to go. His shoulder is dinged up, but he's good. Does the matchup for Okereke put him in over Bond? They get Pittsburgh, or is that run heavy stats because of the Fields effect from the first, 6 weeks?
Yeah.
Was it different last week with Russell Wilson under center? Like you said, Bond had a great couple first start, but then it's kind of faded. Like he hasn't had like that pop week like we saw in the first two.
Right.
But I'm with you on Ernest Jones. We saw when he got traded to Tennessee, it took him 2 games to get up to 100% snaps.
Yep.
I can't imagine he's going to be. I know that the coach speak and everything says that he's going to be out there playing, but I gotta believe that he's going to be limited on play calls and snap counts this first week. So I'm gonna put Branch in the flex there.
Yeah.
I'm kind of almost leaning in a great matchup Okereke for Bond, just because Bond coming off the injury, not really been doing what we've seen him do, and then Okereke getting a great matchup. And it's not like Okereke has been like crap in the bed. It's just not what we're used to seeing out of him. Like we were,
Right.
Well,
I mean, look at per PFF, right? Like he's only topped 7 tackles twice so far this year, right? Everything else, under that, and he's got 2 sacks early in the season, but since then too, I mean, his pass rush opportunities have dipped drastically. I mean, he had 12 in week 3, and he's had 7 since then. 7 pass rushes over 4 games. It's tough, right? Because Bond is someone who, he's got 3 weeks of 13, 10 pass rush opportunities. I think because that's where I land, right? Is he gets a lot of pass rush opportunities. He's playing against a team in Cincinnati that's a heavy, pass script type team. They love to throw the ball. That the injury gives me a little bit of pause, but I think I would play the upside in Bond. I totally get where you're coming with Okereke, though. It's obviously one's got to be the correct answer at some point, but I lean slightly Bond just with the upside.
So so we kind of play this game too. So if I'm chasing, I'm going Bond. Like if I dug myself a hole, I'm playing against a team that's projected to be more than me, I'm going to put Bond in my lineup. But if I have a solid lineup this week against a team who's maybe 2-5, doesn't have a really strong, I'm going to put Okereke in just for the high floor, because he's been pretty consistent with tackles over the last, he's got 8, 5, 6, 6, 5, something like that. So he's got that high floor. And so depending on my matchup, that might be the way to go too. So
yeah, I think that's a really good way to look at it.
Oh, and he's got 2 fantastic defensive linemen too. So great job drafting there, Moose Jaw. That's a good looking squad there. So, Anthony, good morning to you.
Oh, I think he was asking though. He's like, do you start Will Anderson or Dexter Lawrence?
As far as in the flex.
Well, I think, or just between the two of them. I don't know if like that's maybe they only start one DL, or maybe he's got Bosa or something ahead, or Watt ahead of the other two.
Well, those two can't make our flex over Brian Branch, right?
I don't think I would. Yeah.
So, given these two, who are you rocking? I know you're with your head or your heart. Here's how you're going to answer. So,
yeah, Lawrence is on a heater this year, man. So it's hard not to put him in there. But I mean, Will Anderson's shown some huge upside too, right? He had a 3-sack game already. God, I go Dexter Lawrence, and that's as a Texans fan. I think that I think the volume's just going to be greater there. I'm not sorry, Josh. but I think the Colts struggle to stay on the field unless Taylor makes that big of a difference for him. And if he's 100%, that would really be about it. But Richardson's just looked rough this year, and I have concern that this game just gets dominated from that side of it.
And this will be the last week you're on the show. Appreciate it.
Right?
Anthony, good morning again. So he's got to start 2 of these linebackers. We get 2 points for a tackle, 1 for an assist, and 5 for a sack. Nakobe Dean, Kaiser White, or Logan Wilson. So Dean's been playing fantastic. Maybe his metrics don't look great PFF wise, but he's definitely getting it done in the stat column. Like we said that Zach Bond hasn't been doing it, but Nakobe Dean has been really lighting up lately. Kaiser White gives a really nice matchup this week against the Dolphins, who just oozed points to the linebackers last week. Again, that's not without Tua under center, but that offense I probably think takes a step forward and becomes a little more efficient. So it's going to be tough to take Kaiser White out of the lineup this week. Logan Wilson gets Philly, which hasn't been a great matchup, shockingly, for linebacker. So what are you thinking here, Jake?
It's definitely a tough one. I got a lot of these guys, all 3 of these guys pretty much bundled together here. I just think Dean and White, I think, is kind of where I lean. I like, the linebackers in Philadelphia get enough pass rush opportunities consistently. Again, that's where, with 5 points per sack, and obviously it's going to stack, I'm guessing there. That's really good upside for Dean. White, I do wonder what that's going to look like, but I really think Tua in this offense are going to start clicking, and they're going to control the game. They're going to have the ball for 38, 40 minutes of the game, and Arizona's offense has looked really putrid recently and struggled to sustain drives themselves. I just think this is pure volume and opportunity, I think, for Kaiser White. He's gonna soak it up because he's good enough to do that if given the opportunity. Wilson's a great play and has been a good story this year. The Philly offense is hard to predict a bit, and I don't know which way that game's really going to go. So I think the better plays in my mind are Dean and White at this point.
That's where I'm at too, and it's probably more has to do with how dominating Pratt has been this year.
Yeah, he's
like almost kind of taking away from Logan Wilson's opportunity. So Kaiser White has no one for competition right now. Dean's been balling out, so that's where I'm going to lean. So good luck to you this week. Anthony CPH wants to start 3 of these. We've got a plethora of linebackers here. Trevin Wallace, Cody Barton, Tremaine Edmonds, Quay Walker, Kenneth Murray, and Neville Hewitt. So I'm going to have to, full disclosure, I was already pumping up Kenneth Murray this week with the trade to send Ernest Jones out. He's going to be the only full-time linebacker there. I think Jack Gibbons is a play this week as well. Kenneth Murray has been having a great season, so I'm for sure he's one of my 3. Is Quay Walker healthy this week? I heard that there was some limited practices on Friday.
There was, and he's been kind of up and down for me too. Out of this list, I think he might be second to last. I don't know, might be last. Quay Walker would definitely not be one of the 3 for me. Even, I mean, that's with the jersey, right? Like I loved with Quay Walker coming out, man. I think he can be something, but he's got a ways to go yet. So, God, I don't know. Where do you start with this? I mean, I guess you kind of said that, right? Kenneth Murray, and I'm with you. Kenneth Murray's definitely locked in. So, what are we looking at for 2, 3 here? Is there someone that pops?
I like Neville Hewitt this week without, I know that Shire's out.
Yep.
And Hewitt's had a great couple of weeks. The only thing that gives me hesitation with him is the matchup versus Indy, but I think Jonathan Taylor's back, so I think that he's going to get just enough there to be relevant. I love Cody Barton, but they're playing against Carolina, and Bryce Young is back under center, so that could be ugly, Trevin Wallace might be getting Josie Jewell back, so is that going to eat into his opportunity? So Murray and Hewitt for me for sure. I really don't like Tremaine Edmonds. I don't know.
Washington Commanders.
I think you just have to go Barton, I think, is probably the lesser of the 3 evils there.
Oh, see, I'm with you with Murray. I'm actually in on Tremaine Edmonds this week, even with or without Jaden
Okay.
Daniels. That offense, I think it's just a high volume offense, right? Like they just try to run a ton of plays. So that alone is something where I think is going to lead to some really great opportunities in general. So right, even if it's a 10% tackle rate, well, if they're running 80 plays, 10% actually ends up being okay in that regard. So I'm not the biggest Tremaine Edmonds fan either. However, I think it's a really plus matchup for him. So I'm with you then. To me, then it comes down to Hewitt and Barton. I've already talked about how I feel about the Colts offense this week. I have some question marks around it, but Hewitt has looked good. He looked really good in coverage too last week, which was kind of the nice benefit there from him stepping in the way he did. So you know what? I'm gonna land on Hewitt with you. So I'm gonna go Murray, Hewitt, Edmonds is the three I land with.
Okay. And I'm gonna go Murray, Hewitt, Barton just because of volume. He's playing 100%. The Panthers have looked pretty decent with Chuba Hubbard running the ball, so it might be, a 60 carry day for him. So if Barton can have a 15% tackle share, we're doing well. So we're good. So I'm gonna go Murray,
His legs
Hewitt,
are still
Barton.
attached. Keep giving him the ball.
Miles Sanders. It'll be Miles Sanders breakout because they want to get him on the trade block. So good luck to CPH. Sits Drenad until further. Yeah, he was only playing 70% of snaps last week. We saw Quan Alexander get a few snaps last week. He was kind of talked up a little bit this week during the presser and stuff like that. So might be a good time to sell.
Right. We saw Quan start last week too, right? Like, and I don't know if that's just Sean Payton being old guard, like he has his ties with Quan, whatever it is, but Strands look good. So this is really sad to hear. But it is, Philip, you're doing the right thing, I think, Philip, unless you're truly in a pinch. You got to be looking somewhere else right now.
Yeah, and the thing here with that too is Strand never had more than like 80% snaps in any of the games that he played. So he wasn't even like a full-time player. He was just very efficient. And last week he had a ton, he was just super efficient again last week. So yes. I don't think there's not a lot this
minimal
week.
At this point though. Yeah. It shouldn't be anything that affects your confidence in McDonald. It's going to be something, but it shouldn't be enough to be worried at this point.
Yeah. Yep. Travis wants to know, we lost Bernard and Elshire this week. Are Jordan Brooks and Jack Campbell good replacements this week? I have way more confidence in Jordan Brooks than I do Jack Campbell. Travis, if you got some other options, if you're still around or still on, you want to throw out some names maybe on the waivers, things like that. Campbell just hasn't got it yet. Malcolm Rodriguez is irrelevant, just stealing just enough snaps. Campbell, over the last 3 weeks, he had 68%, 72%, and 78% of snaps. Malcolm Rodriguez, 53% of snaps last week. What are we doing? I thought we were supposed to be biting kneecaps here.
They're all, it takes a lot out of them, so they can only do it, so many snaps at a time. So
That's true. So yeah, Travis, we're confident in Brooks this week, not so much in Campbell. And not having any teams on a bye, there's got to be some other options for us here at the position. So if you're still here, throw out some names or waiver wires, and we'll see what we can do for you, Travis. Good morning, Danny. Pick one for the flex: Eric Wilson, Montez Sweat, or Beanie Bishop. Whew. These are always really tough because of.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, these are just really tough when they're like multi-positional, and so it's, is there a scoring position premium for one of them? We don't know for sure if Quay Walker's out, but Eric Wilson would be a great plug and play this week with him out. Yeah, see, he stepped up big time last week. So Sweat has a pretty decent matchup, but if I can avoid defensive lineman, if I can start a linebacker, I'm definitely going to do that. And thoughts on Beanie Bishop?
It's a great story, right? The game he had last week, and being inches away from the defensive touchdown. So I know Deshaun Elliott was battling a little bit something this week, but he looks like he's a full go for the matchup this weekend. So to me, if Quay Walker's out, right? So 10:30 comes around, right? Because Packers are a noon game this week, Jeff.
Correct.
Yep. So at 10:30, whatever, 10:45 rolls around, check those inactives, right? Get online, see what they say. If Quay Walker's out for any reason, it's Eric Wilson, 100%. If not, to me, it's Montez Sweat. I mean, unless it's like super depressed sack scoring type thing, right? Where you're really not making your week if he gets one sack, then I might lean Beanie Bishop if Eric Wilson's not in line for a 80% plus snap roll there. Yeah, I think Sweat's probably the best answer overall, unless scoring really dictates otherwise for me.
Yep. And the tricky thing with Walker is he's at those concussions. So he did have limited practices earlier this week, but even if you have limited practice, you still have to clear the concussion protocol. And so we've seen, like Jaquan Brisker had his 3 weeks ago, and he's already been ruled out for this week too. So those can be some long-term lingering injuries. So we might not even see Walker this week, depending on if he clears or not. So here's another one: Quay Walker, Eric Wilson. If Quay starts, you have to play him, right?
Yep. So he was still limited on Friday, and I think he has to have a full practice to clear or full consideration to clear concussion protocol. And I can't find anything
about
that
Saturday.
says from Saturday or this morning yet. So again, guys, just 10:30. It's always 90 minutes before kickoff. They have to officially list their active inactives. Go check that. That's the big thing. So to me, that's what it is. I mean, you can't guess
nice
Quay Walker getting another injury. It's
right. The nice thing is, Drew, you got them both. So you got Quay Walker and you have the immediate backup to plug in right away to know. So
yeah, and then if we want to jump back a little bit, Travis said Bond and Kaiser White are available for the question we were just doing before this in terms of Campbell.
Oh, okay.
So Jack Campbell, Zach Bond, or Kaiser White. To me, Kaiser White would be my
same. Yep, I'm all in on Kaiser White. So thanks, Travis, for following up. Perfect. Yep. So Quay Walker, Bucky or Tucker today? Don't know.
Look at you. This is you work in a school. That's how you're able to decipher these autocorrect type things. Because I was just like, I'm so confused.
I'm leaning Bucky. I think he had more relevant snaps. Tucker's big breakout week when Rashad White was out was kind of like two fluky plays to score.
And a lot of it came in at the end of the fourth quarter too.
Yeah.
I mean, it was you're spot on, Bucky.
Yeah. Summers back for a question. Got good morning. Tough decision between these four linebackers, or four, I guess I should say. Levante David, Taron Johnson, Zach Bond, Nick Bolton, Trevin Wallace, Brian Burns. Whew. So again, multi-categorical here. We're looking at Taron Johnson is usually pretty solid matchup. He gets Seattle this week, so that's going to be. I think he's a lock for me. That offense is just pass heavy. I know there might be without DK Metcalf this week, but I just think that means more opportunity for Lockett and JSN.
Yeah.
So Taron Johnson is in for me.
Levante David's a lock for me too. I mean, I know he's he's had a little bit of a lull at points this season, but I mean, it might just be father time, finally catching up with him. I know last week, he had just 2 tackles per PFF against Baltimore, but I see a strong week for him here against Atlanta.
I like that. And then we got 2 more here. Bond, which we've kind of talked about a little bit already today, just being coming off the injury, not as appealing as he was during week 1 and week 2. Bolton gets a pretty ugly matchup versus Vegas today, so I'm not sure how great that offense is going to be. Trevin Wallace gets Josie Jewell back, and then Brian Burns on Monday night. Did he have an injury designation or a tag?
I'm trying to look it up right now and see what I can get for information on it, because I thought he was battling something. So it's a groin, Achilles. And this is what was concerning. It went limited, no practice, limited, but he's going into the game carrying no injury designation. So, that's supposed to mean full go. So, I mean, if following the injury report and, not finding anything online in a quick scan here, I would say Burns is definitely in there for me as well then.
All right. Well, then that brings us down to Bolton, Wallace, Bond, or Bolton then as our fourth start.
Chiefs.
I almost got to lean
Raiders.
Wallace here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's between Bond and Wallace for me. I think again, I lean a little bit of Bond just because I like the pass rush opportunity that presents him there, that they present him there, and so. But it's a coin flip, honestly, for me, man. It wouldn't take much to switch me over to the Wallace side. I think if we can say for certain that Jewel is not in, I mean, then it's clearly Wallace. But I guess I'm working under the assumption that Jewel's going to be in there this week.
I even think with Jewel, though, I think Wallace can be decent play. Denver should have this game handily. They've shown they're going to run the ball. Javonte Williams had his best game of his career last week. So they might be leaning a little more heavily on that run, take a little bit off of Nix's plate. I don't think they need to do a lot to beat Carolina this week. So I'm going to go Wallace for you, Summer. So David, Teron Johnson, and Burns for sure for the three of us, or the two of us, and then Wallace for me, Bond for Jake. So good luck to you, Summer. That's a tough one. Whew. Sherwood or Foye? We've kind of talked a little bit about Foye coming off an injury. The defensive coordinator in Jacksonville was kind of playing around with 80% snap share before the season, or at first couple weeks of the season. Coming off the injury, we want to see a week. So I'm going to lean Sherwood, even though he and Mosley are kind of flip-flopping plays now, we saw. So,
that's a tough one, right? That's the exact thing, right? Is Foye going to get the Mosley treatment, right, and be eased back in? Like, that's a tough one. I do think I think I lean Sherwood slightly because he's just the reason they're probably easing him back in. I don't think it's because of Mosley. I think it's because of Sherwood. I think Sherwood's played quite well in the absence of Mosley. Yes. That it's one of those things, right, where injury might have lost Mosley some of his job here, and again, not because Mosley's bad. Sherwood's just having a really good season right now. So I would lean Sherwood this week. But again, right, is there something out there on your waiver wires with a full week where we can sneak something in, right? Is Neville Hewitt out there, right? He just started with the first game of the season last week, had a great week. Maybe he can be out there. I mean, if Hewitt's out there, would you go Hewitt over Sherwood or Foye, or would you?
I would, just because he would be guaranteed snaps this week, where these two have question marks around how many snaps they're going to play. I feel with the injuries in Houston, Hewitt would be 100% snap guy. So, and that's
he was wearing the dot last week.
Yeah, volume is king for me. So, good luck to you, glue sniffer. Yep, crazy glue sniffer. All right. Good morning. Oh, the doctor's in the house, so we're good. Good morning. Trevin Wallace or Mapu, assuming Jewel plays. So Trevin Wallace is the flavor of the week, Jake.
Yep. Well, Mapu was the flavor of the week a couple weeks back, right? When no safety could not be arrested or be healthy for the Patriots. So,
I do like Mapu this week because isn't Duggar got up? Was he limited or something earlier this week too? So he might.
3 weeks ago, he hurt his ankle and came out of the game, and he's been a limited participant with that ankle ever since. But he's played full snaps, so it was weird because this is where I think maybe the question or my concern might come from. He was limited, but he carried no designation. Then all of a sudden they changed it to questionable. So did something happen to actually aggravate it, make it worse after the no designation was given on Friday? But as a person who has Duggar on a lot of rosters, I tried to dug into this. There's nothing that I can find or that people are readily sharing where it's like, yeah, this is a new injury, this is a re-aggravation that makes it concerning. So Mapu could be in line for a little bit more, but he's already been playing ideal alignment, and his production has been average to slightly above average. So all that to say, Wallace feels like the stronger play overall to me. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just too much of a Duggar fan to let my biases not see Mapu as more.
No, I'm with you. I'm Trevor Wallace, and even if Jewel plays, I think there's still enough here for Wallace to be more relevant than Mapu. Like you said, I think Duggar plays. He's been managing that ankle and with limited practices and stuff. And
Right.
I would think if it was something more somewhere, someone would have said something about it. So
Right.
we're
He's
gonna
a
go
green
Trevor
dot too,
Wallace
right?
there.
So he's
Yeah.
the guy running the defense, Duggar, out there on the play calls and stuff. I would think that they would do everything they can to make sure he's out there 100% then.
For sure. Ant needs two of these. Taylor,
Alante, I'm guessing, for the Saints.
Alante Taylor, Morrig, Xavier Woods, or Hamilton. I need two of those. So Woods has been a great story. He's been playing a lot. If Jewel does play, I think he loses some of his luster. Doesn't have an amazing matchup versus Denver. It's really hard to sit Hamilton any week. Morrig's been playing really, really well since the injury to Marcus Epps. And we'll probably see a lot more Alante Taylor, in some primo spots because of the injury to Adebo. So
Yeah, it's just
I
a
almost want to
Chargers
lean
matchup,
Hamilton and
man.
Morrig.
Yeah, I feel like those are the safest plays. I like the Chiefs matchup for the Raiders in terms of just they're probably going to have enough opportunities there. Woods,
Yep.
if Jewel and Wallace are out there, I think Woods has been his increased production has been a little bit of a product of weak play in front of him and at that second level of the defense, and him coming down to play there more to help support that because Woods is a good player. He can do that, all right? So I think Hamilton just gives you that big upside, and you love the alignment and utilization. I'm a huge Alante Taylor fan, have been for the last couple of years. I would love to be able to get him in my lineup. I have major questions. I don't know how much 11 personnel we're going to actually see out of the Chargers. I don't know. I don't see Dennis Allen finding a lot of ways to get Taylor out there potentially. Maybe I'm wrong, and that would be great to see him get that type of usage. But I mean, he primarily plays in the slot, and that's one of the positions we love for our defensive backs. But yeah, I think your safe and boom play is Merrick and Hamilton. So
Yep. I like it. Best of luck to you, Ant. CPH is back. Oh, so he was asked earlier about
oh, that's right. Yeah.
starting three. That was a linebacker one that he asked.
Trevin Wallace, Cody Barton, Edmonds, Walker, Murray, and Hewitt.
Evan Williams has been fantastic the last 3 weeks for the Packers. Kobe Bryant had a really great week last week. I don't know if there is a wrong answer with these two.
As the resident Packer fans, if you had to make the choice.
Right. So this is like you with your Houston Texans going through head and heart. I almost feel that like Kobe Bryant has a better matchup versus Buffalo than Evan Williams does versus Jacksonville. Having said that, though, Jacksonville has looked a little better offensively since Tank has been in there. Like they are a little more balanced and sustaining drives. And Evan Williams has just been playing fantastic football. So I'm going to lean the more consistent playing Evan Williams. I know that they're both 3 weeks in and 1 week into their great seasons, but I'm going to take Evan Williams here just because of a little bit better track record. I think they get a little bit better matchup here, and we're just going to go with that.
Jeff's always right, so that's a simple answer.
Right. I gotta talk to my wife. IDP doctor Quincy Williams has been disappointing the last couple of weeks. Ventrell, Miller, or Williams in big play scoring. So with Foye, do we see Ventrell Miller kind of disappear? Does he get in a rotation? And if he did, it would make it even uglier than it was back in weeks 1, 2, and 3, because then they would add Miller to a 4-man rotation at linebacker. So they're all playing 60% instead of 3 of them playing 80%. So that's gross. You almost got to take the volume of snaps with Quincy Williams, even though he hasn't produced, right, Jake?
100%. And I know this is going to be tough, doctor, right? Like it's one of those things where you're just like, look what Miller's done, right? And then Miller's going to get out there. He's going to get 70% of the snaps somehow, and he's going to 16% tackle rate. And you're just going to be like, son of a biscuit. And it's tough. But I mean, the odds to me are much stronger with Quincy Williams, and so I know it's easy for me to say where I'm sitting, but that's definitely where I would lean, is to Quincy over Ventrell this week. Too much unknown in that Jacksonville linebacker room.
Yeah, with so many options, with no teams on a bye, can't play the if game this week. So, is Reddick playing, and does it help McDonald? Reddick should be in the playing. I don't think he should be in any of our lineups this week, but I almost think it has to help McDonald, like draw some attention to the opposite side, keep them fresher. They set up a little bit better rotation. Maybe it increases their efficiency, to get those third down plays where they can pin back their ears and just go. I think long term, it probably helps both of these players to have better players playing opposite of them. So,
yep, rising tide raises all boats, right? I mean, that's
your T-shirt.
Right. I mean, to me, it's as simple as that. I mean, and Nolan Smith just hasn't been able to do enough, even within his starting role. So I think letting him play in more pass specific situations, right? Reddick is obviously a strong pass rusher, but I feel like he's shown us he can do way more in the run game than Nolan Smith can up to this point. So, I think it just gives everybody an opportunity to be better.
If Kendricks is out, Jewel Wallace or Diablo? Hard thing with this one is Kendricks doesn't play till tonight, 7:20. So, I mean, Jewel Wallace and Diablo are all going to play earlier, so you're not going to know, right? Because Kendricks has the 7:20 game versus San Francisco tonight. So everything has looked good so far for Kendricks to play. He's trending in the right direction. So I'd almost have to risk it, and if Kendricks is in there, over those three.
Yep. I mean, no, you're spot on. I'm just trying to see if I can find anything more on Kendricks' injury designation.
I've got Kendricks. Yeah, I've got Kendricks in a couple spots, and I'm risking it. Got him in my flex spot on defense, and if I have to, I can try to pivot to, maybe there's somebody on the waivers I can just plug in and pray. But I'm gonna go with Kendricks on this one. Thanks, Axton. Clearly, you're listening on Spotify this morning and not watching YouTube if you say we're looking good. So appreciate that. Drew, tell me to bench Tillman over Moss or Wandell. I would tell you to do that, but I think that would be the wrong thing to do. Tillman was Jameis Winston's go-to guy last week. I mean, he was heavily peppered in targets. The matchup actually looks really good this week versus Baltimore. They're going to be without their two top safeties, with Wiggins is out now, and then who is the other guy opposite? He had a couple picks last week, but he got injured on the play.
Oh, Humphrey! I thought Humphrey was looking good to play this week.
I thought he was going to be out as well. I thought so.
Let's dig into that quick. But yeah, we can keep. Sorry.
Yep. No, I thought for sure he was going to miss some time this week. So
internet is not working with me today. Oh, you're right. He's doubtful, but Wiggins is questionable.
I think he got declared out. Yeah. So.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah, Schefter texted me and told me that. So yeah, I'm gonna lean Tillman here this week. I just think volume is there. They're gonna have to throw to keep up with Baltimore. Winston obviously is gonna throw for 400 yards this week, 3 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. So Tillman is probably going to be on the receiving end of that, especially with Cooper gone now. I think he just takes that spot. He's a big dude. Yep. He's like 6'3" too.
Nate Wiggins did not travel with the team, so you're spot on.
All right. So sorry, Drew, I can't tell you to bench Tillman over those two, but that would not be the responsible thing to do.
And Baltimore's been a pass funnel for most of the year too, right? Like that's where teams have been able to find any if all their offensive success. So
yeah.
And I mean, I love the Nick Chubb story.
Yeah.
So they're going to be throwing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Will Anderson does not have a great matchup this week. Guys, Grammys wants to know Ernest Jones or Cody Barton for the third linebacker spot. I think we got to go Cody Barton. Just Ernest Jones learned a new playbook less than a week in a new town. We saw a couple weeks. It took him to get up to speed when he was traded to Tennessee. So Cody Barton, volume-based, easy call. CPH is also suffering from Lake's Thursday night football dud. It's safe here. This is a safe space. Yeah, he's been getting a lot of deep alignment looks too. Curl has been playing a lot more in the box over the last 2 or 3 weeks. And so they kind of shifted roles there. So it'll be interesting to look at alignment for this third week of this new scheme and stuff like that. We'll see what happens. But yeah, it was not a good game for either of them. Eric wants to know, picking 2 of these defensive linemen, Granderson, Highsmith, or Walker. Got to go Highsmith for sure against the Giants. Yep. I think that Daniel Jones is guaranteed a sack, or maybe even Drew Lock.
Yeah, the Jags against Green Bay. I mean, Walker's played well this year. To me, that's not a very ideal matchup. So Saints.
I'm gonna go Granderson. Yeah. Walker's had a tough matchup.
Joe Alt's been playing crazy good this year. That is a tough one.
Sean Slater's been playing well. Packers got Tom, and they've been playing really well. And Love gets rid of the ball. I guess you can say the same about Herbert.
I think I'd lean Walker on this one. So I think we're locked in on Highsmith. That's for sure. Yep. I lean Walker. I think it's just Packers love to throw the ball. Their pass rate over expectation is a strong one, and Herbert. I mean, they threw a rock a bunch last week though against Arizona in a relatively close game, right? I mean, yeah, I don't know why I'm not going to give you some great analysis. My gut just says Walker this week, Eric. So, and I know Jeff, you're kind of leaning Granderson. It sounds like so.
I am leaning Granderson just because the Chargers are giving up 18.8 points to opposing defensive linemen every week, whereas the Packers have given up 12.7. So,
yeah, Chargers allow way more pressures, but they aren't converted into sacks at the same rate as the Packers. So it's one of those things where, for me, I just like the fact that sacks are a little more likely against the Packers, just from a numbers standpoint, from pure pressure to sack ratio. Now that I'm digging into it a little bit here. So we just probably confused you more, Eric, but yeah, that's what we do here. It's one of our specialties.
That's that way we're always right. So yeah. Only Jack wants to know, Danielle Hunter or Carl Granderson this week. So obviously Granderson is flavor of the week as well. What are your thoughts here? Do you think with that matchup for Danielle Hunter?
It's tough because Richardson has escapability, right? And when you look at what Indianapolis has, it's the numbers are always slightly skewed too, right? Because they got half the season with Flacco, they got half the season with Richardson when you look at it as a whole. So I'd have to really dig down into it, but I love the talent in Hunter. I love what they have in that defensive front. They're constantly finding ways to bring pressure, with blitzing or without, whether different stunts or twists or things from the front. So I think I lean Hunter here. I feel like this is probably my bias kind of showing through a little bit here. I think Hunter finds a way to get home though this week. Him and Anderson potentially, even and I know someone said it's not a plus matchup earlier. It definitely isn't, but I think this is where talent wins out in this regard, and I think that Houston does a nice job playing from the front, which allows the pass rushers to have an opportunity to, like you said earlier, pin the ear backs, right, and kind of know what's happening from the offensive play calling.
Yeah, and that's where I was going to go too. Houston should be leading this game. It's going to force Indy to throw, which might provide opportunities. So yeah, this will be my last week on the show as well, Jake. So we'll be looking for new places next year. So best of luck, Jack. Moose Jaw back. Thanks, fellas. Had AVG on Thursday night. So Anderson or Dexter is going to be the other defensive line spot. So off to a great start already. That's got to be a great feeling heading into the week. James wants to know, if Kendricks is out, should I play Bond, Overshone, Hewitt? 2 for solo, 1 point assist, 5 sacks. So the nice thing is if you have Kendricks, you have Overshown there just to pivot to. So there's nothing wrong with there. But is that play better than Murray, Hewitt, or Bond in your opinion, Jake?
It's definitely not better than Bond. I think it's better than Hewitt. So it really comes down to, do you like Murray more than the opportunity of Kendrick / Overshown? I really think it's splitting hairs at that point. I know you're in on Murray this week. I could see that definitely being a strong play overall.
Just getting
Yeah.
Detroit.
Yep.
Murray gets Detroit this week. They should be dominating that game. They got rid of D-Hop. They're starting Mason Rudolph. The Lions should be running the ball all of the second half, between Gibbs and Montgomery there. So I think that Murray is going to be the recipient of a lot of tackles.
Yeah, I would go Murray.
Yep, perfect. Good linebacking core there to have to choose from, though. That's fantastic. Kirito, hey guys, have to play one Dowdle, Bucky, or Moser this week. Full PR. Hey, good day, mate.
That is Dallas has got San Francisco. I think to me it goes. Is Dowdle ahead of? Yeah, I think Dowdle's ahead for me. I just think he's got a better chance of controlling that backfield out of all three of them, and gets
Dalvin
the passing
Cook,
opportunity.
baby. Dalvin Cook is here this week.
He's called up from the practice squad.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I go Dowdle. I just like Mostert's matchup and Bucky being injured. I know he's going to play this week, but White's healthy now, and he consumes a lot of the passing game. I know Bucky's been getting some work there. I have hesitations about Bucky this week having a bigger role. So especially when they had Tucker show, he can be competent filling in and kind of eating up some of those snaps. So yeah, I'm actually looking Dowdle this week.
And I was grossly going to say the same thing. There's that three-headed monster right now in Tampa Bay. Who knows what that offense is going to look like in Miami now with Tua back under center. So yeah, I think we got to go Dowdle there. Only Jack, it's been said it's not an if week. So do we think Kyle Duggar is okay to plug in as questionable tag? Jake, you kind of already alluded to that already, thinking he's been kind of managing it. The only thing that was kind of scary about it was that it popped up midweek with that designation. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you with Duggar in your lineup?
I mean, if again, right, caveat always before 90 minutes before kickoff, check those actives and inactives. If he comes in active at that point, I'm about 80-90% confident that he's in for a full set of snaps this week. So, and I mean, they need him out there. To me, he's really the only strong leader of the defense at this point. I mean, Christian Gonzalez a little bit as well. He's kind of stepping into a leadership role, but it's Duggar, man. He's the one who's been there the longest, who's been able to be productive, and be on the field for them. They're hurting, so they need something. So I think he finds a way to gut it out.
Quincy Williams has been sucking. Dean,
right to the point.
Dean over him. Yeah. Yep. No, I think you're right on there, half witty. I think Dean for sure over Quincy Williams. It's been
no concerns.
He has been
there.
sucking. that's sucky. Good morning, guys. Pick one. Trevin Wallace at Denver, Overshown versus the 49ers. As always, thanks for the great insight. Thank you, Clint, for being a consistent listener and follower. I think I got to go Overshown here just because he's been playing fantastic. He has, even with Murray in there, he's been producing. So, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, right. When Kendricks and him were there, they were both, the last couple of times, they were both 100% snap or near 100% snap, right? Considerations. Trevin Wallace, if Jules in there, there's a chance that Wallace does sink down to that 90%, 80% range. So I like Overshown just slightly better.
All right. We're going to go Hewitt or Spectre this week. Terrell Bernard's out, so Spectre becomes a viable play, but I think Hewitt just becomes a much better option for him there.
Oh, I think I like Spectre this week against.
Do you?
I think against that Seahawks offense. I really think I do.
Tell me more.
I mean, they're committed to the run game. They're committed to using the running backs in the passing game, and I mean that's where we're going to see, especially in a zone heavy scheme for Buffalo, right? Well, I mean most NFL defenses are zone heavy now, so but one of the above average zone defenses, that's something where the linebacking room is going to have a chance to really capitalize on that. Now I'm blanking here. Dorian Williams has looked great though too, so I mean he might outshine him in that opportunity. So I guess Hewitt maybe is the safer one then, because Jake Hansen and the corpse of Devin White probably aren't going to outperform him. I'm not a huge fan of the Colts offense this week. So
okay, that makes sense. I can get behind that. Philip wants to know McDonald or Fowler this week. Fowler's been on a tear the last couple weeks. McDonald gets a great matchup versus New England. I'm almost thinking you got to ride the matchup here with McDonald. Maybe a little more inspired, gets a little help from Hassan Reddick opposite him.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to not love what Fowler's produced, but it's been outlier production in the sense that 4-3-3 are his pressure numbers, right? And he's turned that into 5 sacks. Generally speaking, that is not sustainable, especially for someone who we haven't seen sustain that over longer stretches previously in their career. McDonald, it just feels more safe to me, and I just don't know that I love the upside for Fowler, so I'm going to go McDonald.
Right. Yep. And we appreciate the super chat, Philip. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you, Philip.
Appreciate. Yep. Thank you. So we are on to Rogaroo wants to know, talk me off the ledge. I've been worried and disappointed in Garrett so far. There's been a lot of disappointing players, but he's just one of those players that we put in our lineup because we know he can produce. At any week, he can have a multi-sack week. We get Baltimore this week. He always seems to show up for those Baltimore games. Great rivalry. I don't know who you'd pivot to. Like who? What's the option? I mean, it has to be pretty amazing to bench Garrett and his upside there.
Right. And I mean, he's still winning his pass rush reps a quarter of the time. It just hasn't converted. So to me, I mean, not everyone watches every Browns game, right? And I'm just looking at the PFF metrics here, but this is something where I think it's just when we're looking at highlights and box scores and whatever, these are things that we just can't necessarily see. And Garrett's out there still being Myles Garrett. It hasn't delivered yet in the way that we like to for fantasy. So I'm definitely he's a plug and play starter for me. And that offense, I guess we'll see what, the famous Jameis offense looks like right now too. I mean, maybe that'll re-inspire something. Yeah. Eating W's, baby. So I'm Roger, you got to give him at least a few more weeks here. Let's see what we got. The underlying metrics are there. The ability to produce is there. It's either going to come through or, again, Jeff and I will be finding new jobs here in a couple of weeks. So,
and Baltimore has been a really good matchup for opposing defensive line. So I think he gets it done this week. Like you said, the metrics are there. It's sacks are such a fluky stat anyway. You can have all of the pressures and just not hit home, or you have a guy like Fowler who has five rushes and 4 sacks. So it's just like, what are you going to do? So I'll take the guy that's got 20 and, eventually is going to get there. So, yep. All right. Pooch wants to know, we need 2 of these 3 defensive linemen, Will Anderson, Will McDonald, or not Will Jonathan Cooper. So, we've already said a lot about Will Anderson's matchup.
Yeah.
Cooper's been really good.
He has, but you know what? So has the Carolina offensive line actually too. Quietly in a season where everything else at times has looked like a dumpster fire there, the offensive line has looked actually pretty darn competent and good for them. So to me, McDonald's for sure. And I think I just like what Anderson has in terms of facing Anthony Richardson, who likes to extend plays. His time to throw is one of the higher ones in the NFL. I think that's something where he can take advantage of that, even though the Colts have had a relatively good offensive line too. But yeah, I know Bryce Young's looked bad and he holds onto the ball a lot too. Yeah, it's Anderson by a hair for me over Cooper.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Will in this one. Like you said, Cooper has been really great. He had kind of a falling off last week. He didn't do quite as much last week with his opportunities, and like Jake said, Carolina's been low-key good offensive line, so at least they got something to go building towards the future there. So,
yep.
All right. Travis wants to know Bond, Kaiser White are available. Oh, this was already following up. So we picked Kaiser White. If he was still available, he would definitely be the call over Jack Campbell this week. So,
yep.
Rich wants to know, we got Montez Sweat, Jonathan Cooper, which we just were talking about, and then Derek Hall. Thanks, fellas. He needs, I'm assuming, picking 2, or this is his DL2. So I think we're going to pick one of, let's just rank the 3 of them. So
rank them in order. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think they're in order, honestly.
Yep. I'm going to go Montez Sweat here, Cooper, and then Hall. So if you have to play 2, then it's Sweat and Cooper. And if not,
so he already knew Rich is on top of his game.
Yeah. He's just confirming, just helping us out. We appreciate the people who pre-ranked their questions. Roger wants to pick 2 of these: Branch, Blackman, or Newbin.
Branch. I don't care about the matchup. I know it's Mason Rudolph. I know it's low volume. Branch is just on another level to me this year. I loved him coming out last year. I really hoped he got a starting role. He did. It was slot, but now he's all over the field, and he makes everything look just so effortless out there. I don't know. I'm going to stop now because I'll just go on a 30-minute soapbox about how great Brian Branch is otherwise.
And then for the second guy, do we trust Blackman and his alignment for snaps, or do we like Newbin's like high tackle floor with no big splash plays?
If you have Branch in there, maybe Newbin is the perfect pairing right then to kind of like, hey, maybe Branch doesn't deliver, but Newbin's going to give you a nice strong floor. Houston has been leaning into the run game a lot, but it hasn't been Blackman who's been able to get a lot of that box alignment always. It's been kind of back and forth throughout the season here a little bit. And yeah, I think Branch and Newbin is the lineup for me.
Yep. Good call. If Jewell is back, do we go Trevin Wallace, Brooks, or Mapu? I like Brooks of all of them. Brooks has been really performing well for Miami. David Long Jr. has been kind of dinged up. Even though he's kind of the green dot guy, Brooks has quietly been the linebacker to roster and start there every week. So I'm going to go Brooks over the 3 of those, even if or without Josie Jewell being back.
If Duggar's out, does that give you any consideration, an extra boost for Mapu?
Brooks has just been playing pretty well. Brooks has just been playing too well for me to take out. He's been a hot play, and we've seen it before where if a better offense kind of helps the defense out a little bit, and hopefully with Tua back, then that offense can be a little more valid. And then I think Brooks, I like Brooks a lot.
Yep.
GSL wants to know picking 2: McMillan, Tillman, Ridley, Odunze, and defense comments on Aluaka playing. So we've kind of talked about Aluaka a little bit just because like first game back, he wasn't playing 100% of snaps before the injury. He was only playing about 80% with the rotation. We're going to take this week off of Aluaka just to see what they're going to do. And that defense, is he coming back slowly? Is he going to be eased in? Are they just going to go, you know what? This defense isn't working. It was working way better before when he was playing 100% of snaps. Here you go. As far as the wide receivers go, Ridley is out for sure for me. I just can't trust him. Even now with D-Hop gone, I don't know. Nick Westbrook Akina is probably a better option in that offense for
that guy. Always finds the end zone somehow. 2 targets, 1 catch, 12 yards, a touchdown.
Yep. I like Tillman this week. I've already confessed my love for him and his target share with Winston under center. And then that gives us Odunze or McMillan. You got to love McMillan's opportunity this week now with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin gone.
Nope.
Is he going to get the slot role, in that Cooper Kupp role in that offense, or is it going to be Sterling Shepard? Is it going to be is the other guy? There's one more guy there.
Sterling Shepard, Trey Palmer, and Jalen McMillan. Those were
Yeah,
like the three.
Yeah. So I'm going to go McMillan and Tillman here for me. I don't know about you, Jake.
Yeah, I think that's the answer. It's tough, but I think Tampa Bay is going to be running plenty of 11 personnel out there. I mean, right? One of the possible answers is they're just like, you know what? No, we're gonna turn into a running team, and we got 3 running backs, and so we're going to lean into that. It's tough, but Dunze is tough because that offense has been clicking with all 3 of those wide receivers out there, and Dunze hasn't been a focal point of that when all 3 are out there. He's definitely capable of 40 yards and a score. He's definitely got that in his range of outcomes. McMillan has a chance to be, 8 targets, 6 for 80 and maybe a score as well. I mean, it's a wide range for all those players. So I don't have a great confidence outside of Tillman. We can lean into McMillan just because Baker has been just really good distributing the ball this year. And trust in that, right? He's given us fantasy production from the quarterback position consistently, and we'll lean into that this week and go with McMillan.
Yeah, and it is National Tight End Day, so the answer is always going to be K-Dot this week. So it'll be K-Dot, and it'll be the one. So that'll be the one. Pooch wants to know, is Foye playing? All signs point to him, yes, playing, but I don't think he can be trusted in our lineups just yet. Yeah. So let's hold off on the Foye love for one more week and just kind of see what happens. So Zitty1, welcome back. Good morning. Starting for these linebackers, we got Bobby Wagner, Spillane, Dorian Williams, TJ Edwards, Kendricks, maybe. Is that Kendricks? Yeah, Foye. Really wanted to go Foye, but worried about firing him up first game back. We are with you. Look at that sack. 8 points for sacks. So
big play, baby.
8 for a tackle for loss. That's a big play. So we got 4 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4,
6
5,
total.
6. So got to sit 2.
So we're sitting Foye. I think we both agree on that pretty easily.
Yep.
Gosh. I mean, if I'm being honest, like of that stuff there, Spillane might actually be the one who has the lowest big play upside. Now I'm blanking on what Wagner's.
They got Kareem Hunt though. He's going to run the ball 82 times for 3 yards, and
that's true. Yeah, I forget. I kind of glossed over the tackles for loss there. Yeah, that's.
Is Dorian Williams the sit?
God, I think you're right. Yeah.
As tough as that is, that's a fantastic linebacker core right there too, especially when you get Foye back. This is a great team to try, target a team that's hurting at linebacker. Take 2 of these and go after, a piece on their team that can, solidify your starting lineup. Because after the buys are done, you're going to have, Foye, Wagner, Spillane, and TJ Edwards for your playoff run. Dorian Williams and Kendricks are going to be luxuries. So I'd be looking to move those 2 to get a piece that can help solidify your starting lineup. Cohen, good morning, guys. Need 2 at linebacker: Spillane, EJ Speed, or Dorian Williams. We already had Spillane over Dorian Williams, and I love EJ Speed as far as he's back 100%.
They're in order for me.
Yep. I love when we're getting lots of love here. So we appreciate when you rank them for this. Gammon wants to know, at a flex spot, do you want Hubbard, Mooney, JSN, Hopkins, Wendell Robinson, Kelsey, or Olave? Ooh, this is a loaded flex. Is it easy in going Kelsey?
That feels like the floor safe answer, but I mean, if you're not going to get any boom in that at all, I feel like. To me, Hopkins is out. I mean, you're basically playing for a touchdown at that point.
Olave Robinson is out with Neighbors. Not with Carr not in there.
And he's still coming off the concussion, right? So
yep. JSN for upside.
If Metcalf's truly out, which I think he is, right? Did he get the out designation, or is it doubtful? It might be JSN. It's hard too. If this is full PPR, it's definitely JSN because he's going to give you the floor, and I think he has touchdown upside.
So if you need a home run, JSN. If you need a high safe floor, Kelsey.
Yeah, Yep, I like that.
What about Mooney?
I think Bijan. I think a lot of the reason we saw more of that was Bijan was not fully healthy to start this year, and now that he is, I think he's seen more of the workload that we expect, and those touches got to come from someone. And I don't know that London's going to have his touches reduced. Kyle Pitts is a thing now again, like consistently. So I think Mooney's still flex worthy in consideration. I just with Metcalf out, I like JSN too much over that.
Yep, I like it. You are very welcome, Blue Sniffer. Good luck to you this week. A lot of foyer questions. You just missed it, Jake. I just did it.
Oh, I was looking. Oh, whoa.
Yeah, sorry.
I was looking up DK Metcalf. Oh, you caught me.
Sorry.
You caught me sleeping.
You were deep in thought, really doing stuff, and I'm over here just clicking buttons. So hanging around 10, 11-year-olds too much, just clicking buttons. So same issue at linebacker for you. The issues are already coming. Quay still be confirmed. Yeah, so we haven't heard anything about either of these. We got about 20 minutes until we can hear anything officially about them. We're not trusting Foye this week. We got to see a week. Quay doesn't sound like he's cleared concussion protocol yet, and usually they're pretty good about saying if they have or have not.
Yeah.
We got about 20 minutes away, so Nick, you're gonna have to hold out. Hopefully, you have a second option. Maybe that Eric Wilson on your waiver is a great pickup to cover your biscuit there. So
I was gonna say, right, the right answer is check waivers, assuming we can't. If no designation from Quay given or he's active, do you go Quay or Foye?
I almost got to go a Quay here just because he's been 100% outside of last week. He's played every snap on defense. Can't say that about Foye or Lucan coming back off a foot injury. So,
no, perfect. Speed.
Another Lucan. Lucan or Speed? Speed easily for me this week.
Yep.
I always feel like that's like the meme. It's like we get a lot of speed questions and just severely underrated. It's always like the astronaut question, like it always has been. That's so. All right. We got struggling here. Picking two: McDonald, Highsmith, or Diaby.
Highsmith for sure.
Yep.
And then I'm trying to double check. Tampa Bay has Atlanta. Even with that statue back there of Kirk Cousins, they still really aren't allowing a ton of sacks back there. He's getting the ball quick enough, I think.
Kind of a middle of the road matchup for both of the teams. Tampa Bay's matchups getting 15 points opposite New England's giving up 14.7, but that might have been very skewed with Jacoby Brissett under center. We've seen probably a few more sacks with Drake May. So I'm going to go McDonald here. Highsmith and McDonald for me.
Yep. Slightly out of order. Highsmith first, but
yeah. Let's work on the lineups here a little bit, people. Come on. Shako wants to know Ernest Jones or Okereke. I think we got to go Okereke here just because of the unknown with Ernest Jones snap share this week. So Jason's back with his Ecto Cooler. Benching Spillane for pace, which is already played. JOK with a great matchup. Or Dorian Williams. Spillane not the same with Diablo back. Also have Dodson, Buckner, Anthony Jennings at DL. So let's take the first one. Pace is already in. JOK or Dorian Williams. Who do you like of those three? Spillane, JOK, or Dorian Williams?
To me, JOK's in. To me, he's a step up from Spillane and Dorian Williams.
Agree.
Gosh, that's tough. Williams has been an efficiency outlier in terms of tackles, but he's been consistent with it throughout the year. So,
I love Spillane's matchup this week against the.
Chiefs. Yep. I'm in. Seattle matchup's a good one too for Dorian. I was just talking about how I do like that, but I really do like the matchup against the Chiefs for Spillane this week. I'm slightly above Spillane over Williams. What about and Tyrell Dotson though? Have we considered that, especially with the trade happening, right? So
Yeah, I think it would be really hard to put him over JOK or Spillane this week.
okay.
So,
All right, and
looking at
then
his defensive line question, he's got Buckner who's coming back, or Anthony Jennings at defensive line.
the middle of the Houston Texans offensive line is where you should attack them. Well, the Packers proved it can be anywhere last week, but even more especially the interior of their offensive line is the spot to attack them. It's a big game. They're gonna need them. I think I go Buckner here. I bring him back even off the injury.
Trust him enough coming off?
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. Zitty back, picking 2, Mapu, Grant, or Kobe Bryant, Xavier Woods, Bynard, or Newbin.
Yep.
Do we go Grant and Newbin? Or do we go Bryant and Newbin?
Yeah, Newbin's definitely in. That's not a big Byard fan this year. Yeah. Newbin.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, Newbin and Bryant. Bryant played like 100% of snaps last week in place. I think that's a great matchup. So,
yep. Newbin and Bryant.
Yep. Bears. Always it's an embarrassment of riches with Rougarou. So, picking 2 of these: Will Anderson, Rousseau, Burns, or Montez Sweat. So, Jake, you've already said that Will Anderson has a tough matchup, but you've put him in a couple lineups. You like Burns' matchup.
Yep.
Doesn't sound like he has an injury designation anymore. Playing on Monday nights are always risky. We got Rousseau that's got a matchup this week versus Seattle.
Yep.
And then Montez Sweat. What are we feeling here? Got to be Burns is one of them, right? Against
yeah. Now I'm trying to see if is Von Miller back this week. I know he only eats into the pass rush snaps, but I don't think he's back. I'm Rousseau and Burns, I think. Yeah.
That's why I was leaning. I was kind of splitting between him and Will Anderson. So, yeah. Best of luck, Rougarou. That is amazing lineup there. Another Mosley Sherwood question. Your thoughts long term. My dilemma this week is who to drop between Mosley or Overshown or Sexy Dexy. Have Buckner coming off IR. Had it hard to drop Lawrence. Only play 1 DL.
Well, the nice thing is if you only play 1 DL in that league, you probably have an embarrassment of riches on the waiver wire that you can. I think you can take chances there, and you can probably stream that. Or find, someone else on a heater at some point. Gosh. I would go Overshown just in terms of who to drop between Mosley, Overshown, or Sexy Dex. I mean, if you're in on Buckner this week, I would drop Sexy Dexy. I guess I don't know what the linebacker starting requirements look like, but I mean, with only 1 DL requirement, I'm comfortable streaming that every week. Usually, there's guys like Joey the Tooth does a defensive line streaming one. Doesn't Justin do one for the IDP show, right? Too. There's one. Yep. So I mean, tap into those things, and you can stream defensive line really, really well. And then that
I
gives
think
you
you
the
hit on the
depth you
head,
want at
Jake, too, when you said
linebacker.
only 1. When you only start 1, I think that's a huge piece of it too. Like there's a lot of options.
Yeah.
So, do you like Buckner over Dexter Lawrence, or would you rather have Dexter Lawrence?
I think I'd rather go Sexy Dexy still.
Okay, agree.
Oh God, I'm getting old, Jeff.
And picking one: Owe versus the Browns, Rousseau versus the Bills. Owe has a really nice matchup.
I really like that matchup against the Browns.
Yeah, I do too. I think Owe is the way to go.
I think Owe is going to be in a super plus pass rush matchup and game script this week, so I would go Owe.
Like it. Same. Andrew picking 2 defensive tackles, a tackle in assist heavy league, Adam Butler, Ed Oliver, DeForest Buckner, having to drop Matabike.
I mean, I'm in on Buckner this week still, even off the injury,
Yep.
so he's in there for me. Gosh. I just got to do
that is tremendously hard to drop Matabike over Adam Butler, but that's where we are.
Yeah, I mean, Butler's been sporadic when he has his games, he can produce. I struggle seeing him doing it against the Chiefs offensive line. Creed Humphrey in the interior, that line is pretty darn good overall. I think I'd go Ed Oliver.
Would you drop Butler instead of dropping Matabike?
Off the top of my head, I think I'd keep Matabike, but I'd have to really look at what rest of the season looks like. I don't have that thought or those numbers in front of me, but I think off the top, yeah, I'd keep Matabike. Namde.
I would.
Matabike.
Sorry. I digress. All right. SRM wants to know Luvu, Queen, or Edmonds this week.
I like Luvu, but I think Edmonds is the safer play. Queen, I just don't like this year. Against Chicago, though.
Yeah. Been very sack dependent.
Yeah, I'd go Edmonds. I feel like Edmonds is the safer play overall, but I mean, unless it's very tackle light and sack heavy, then I can see justification for Luvu.
Yeah, I'm with you there with Edmonds' call. Halfwitty wants to know certain 3: Quincy, Spillane, Dodson, Trayvon Wallace, or Nakobe Dean.
I think Dean's in, right? We kind of landed on that this week.
Yep. I like Spillane this week.
Yep.
And then
Quincy, Dodson,
I think Dodson.
Or Wallace. Yeah. Just
probably
last man standing for right now, right?
Yep.
For this
Nakobe
week.
Dean's. Yeah. Yep. DL question: Will Anderson, Rousseau, Granderson, or Jalen Carter?
Well, I think it's so really everything we've talked about to this point. My gut tells us, right, we're at Rousseau over the first 3. Rousseau over Anderson and Granderson.
Yes.
So then it really boils down to, do we like Rousseau over Jalen Carter? Against the Bengals.
I do. This week.
Yeah. I could see Carter making a play there, but again, Rousseau just feels better odds overall to me.
Okay. SRM coming in with an offensive question. What do you think about Tipton this week? So talk about a definition of a banged up crew of wide receivers.
Yeah. I mean, with Olave coming back, I'm curious to see what happens with Bub Means, Tipton, and Olave, right? Like, where is the alignment? Where is the utilization there? I personally don't have a great feel on that, right? You know, is Olave going to be this Z off the line, and then Tipton's your X out there, right? And whatever. And so who's running the most routes and truly getting the targets? I'm torn between those two. Tipton got the nod initially over Means, but then Means was the one who came in 2 weeks ago and got more of the looks, and then it was pretty evenly split last week. So if you have to, I get it, but I that's only in the deepest of leagues, like 4th wide receiver type thing. Would I be hoping that I have to put Tipton in? I have a league like that.
Yeah, especially this week with no teams on a bye. This should be. What's that?
I have a team like that where I'm starting Tipton this week. So.
Nope. Oh yeah.
32 teams start 4 wide receivers. It gets deep.
Oh. Yeah. And for more traditional leagues with teams, no teams on a bye this week, we should be able to do a little better than Tipton for most of us.
Hope. Yep.
Rank these wide linebackers: EJ Speed, Kendricks, Kenneth Murray, JOK, or Quay Walker. For this week, I am all in on Kenneth Murray. EJ Speed is my 1 and 2 A's.
Yep.
Probably going to go JOK after that, Kendricks, and then Quay.
Nailed it for me.
So Kenneth Murray Speed, A1, A2, and then we've got JOK Kendricks, Quay Walker.
Yep,
for this
week to clarify.
Yeah. Matthew wants to know Tyrion Johnson, McCollum for the Tampa Bay or Stevenson. It's either Tyrion Johnson or Stevenson for me this week.
And if
I love the matchup for Stevenson.
Even if Mariota's playing, or do you like it more if Mariota's playing?
I've heard that Daniels is playing.
So you're working under the assumption JD5's back there. Stevenson would be your 2. To me, that's the exact same thing, though, right? Yeah, it's Tyrion Johnson is easily 1 for me, regardless of who Stevenson's facing on the other side. But he has a great play, and so easily a 2 for me ahead of McCollum. Even though McCollum had that extremely awesome play, where he just picked up the fumble, the backwards pass, and then just carried like 19 players on his back. Some of them his teammates. Just everyone's just on his back. He's like, I'm taking you all the end zone. That play should have stood on
Come with me
alone.
Come with me if you want to live. Roguru's got one. He's got Overshone and Kendricks on his bench. Lots of dual Desi players. Play 4. Khalil Mack, who's going to be in this week. He's going to have an amazing matchup this week. Watt, Levante, or Will McDonald. So, again, depending on scoring, that's kind of tricky. If Sacker heavy,
I mean, Mack and Watt have to be in there, right? Because of just the disruption, big play upside that they have.
Yep.
Like, I gotta imagine that a forced, strip sack is significant, right? I think that makes a player's week right there, and those guys have some of the best odds to make that happen this week. So then it's Levante, Will,
me. Yep.
And then Overshone and Kendricks as well could be slotted in there because based on the dual designation.
I like the linebacker of either Overshone or Kendricks. If Kendricks plays, then for sure him. You can always pivot to Overshone over Will McDonald for me.
Yeah. Is there any world where you're playing both Kendricks and Overshone alongside Mack and Watt?
No, because I like to diversify my lineup a little bit. And Levante David's not a terrible pivot. So, Fantasy breakout. Baker, if it's Jerome Baker, definitely not, because
DBs,
if it's Buda Baker, then DBs, Baker, Hamlin, Tyreek Stevenson, or Duggar. So Duggar's been a hot name today.
Yeah, but Buda's locked in number 1 out of that group for me. Again, just JD5's playing.
My 2.
Ooh, see, I like Stevenson just a little bit. Oh. Gosh, I just think that's going to be a shootout there this week, Chicago, Washington. So trying to not lean too heavily into game script. Baker. I'll let you finish. Sorry, I cut you off. I'm still thinking.
No, that's right. I was just looking up Jaden Daniels here a little bit to see if there was anything crazy or any updates or anything that, it still says Jaden Daniels is good to go. So, I don't see anything that's contrary to that. So, I think I'm going to go with.
It comes down to, right, is Duggar playing full set of snaps? If he is, I like him ahead of Hamlin. Hamlin's had a great year. He's got good utilization, right? He's plenty of games where he's got 20 plus snaps inside the box. I mean, if you're safe for play is Hamlin. But I really love the upside of Duggar. Again, Duggar fan here. Full transparency. Yeah, I guess Stevenson's probably still at the bottom of that list, though. At least for me.
So Baker, Duggar, Hamlin, Stevenson. Another offensive question: McBride or Ferguson? I gotta go McBride here.
They got Miami. Yeah, that should be a pass-heavy game.
Yep. And then Devontae Smith or Tank Dell. Dell has been a little disappointed even with Nico Collins being gone. You got to figure Devontae Smith has been a big part of that offense. I know he got dinged up with that shot to the melon and stuff like that, but I almost got to go Devontae Smith here, right?
I think Devontae Smith is a safer play. Dell's dropped 2 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks too. And if he catches both of those, obviously I think we're having a very different conversation overall. But Smith is the right play, and this is from a Texans fan and a Tank Dell guy on a lot of my rosters too. So I hope Dell has a huge week, but it's Smith's the right play.
Yeah. Devonar Lenore at Seattle is a great call this week. Pass heavy offense. It's going to be that game might decide the division too. Devonar Lenore, isn't he a cornerback for the 49ers?
Yeah, but they're playing Dallas.
Oh, never mind then. Yeah, they're playing Dallas.
Which still a good matchup from a very pass-heavy team in Dallas. He gets a lot of slot looks, and 2 defensive back looks or 2 outside corner looks, and he gets the outside looks when they're in 2 defensive backs, and he slides inside the slot when they're looking at that when they're in a nickel package. So yeah, Lenore's a great play this weekend, rest of the season. He's a great DB to have, especially
Lenore or Tyrion Johnson.
Ooh. Buffalo.
I almost got to lean Tyrion Johnson in this one. Get Seattle. I'm almost going to lean Tyrion Johnson here on this one.
I mean, we're talking 50.5% Tyrion Johnson to 49.5 Lenore. For me, it's
right
the finest of splitting hairs. But yeah, I mean, to make a decision, Tyrion is the person I would plug in.
Good options to have there, Jack. Yeah. Montez Sweat, Rousseau, Ajish Elshire, or Ode. Owe.
I love Owe's matchup this week. I really do.
I do too. And Ojulari has been playing really, really well in the absence there of
Thibodeau.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go Owe as my 1.
Mm-hmm.
Rousseau 2. Ojulari 3. Sweat 4.
I'd fight you a little bit on Sweat Ojulari, but I mean, not a ton, I guess. But it's
So we're locked in on our first 2, Owe and Rousseau.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, that's good because that's what we need to pick. We need to pick 2.
Knew it.
Knew it. Zach Allen, my love. Yes. Josh Sweat or Kirby Joseph or Deshaun Elliott. So take the first one here, Zach Allen or Josh Sweat. It's got to be Zach Allen, right? He's just been blowing it up this year.
Where is it's against Carolina. I have espoused my appreciation for their line.
Yeah.
Whereas Cincinnati. Yeah, I'm gonna go Zach Allen. To me, it's the volume numbers, right? The guy plays.
I was just gonna say
he plays so much, and he gets on run looks. He plays on the inside, some, and then he gets a nice tackle floor, and then on pass rushing situations, or even early down, sometimes he gets kicked outside, and he's got the greater opportunity overall, I think. So yeah, I like Allen's floor quite a bit more.
Yeah, he's playing like some Crosby like volume too, like near 80% snaps, which is out of control.
Oh, we missed the
5-2 going against.
There was a Deshaun Elliott and Kirby Joseph.
Defensive back, yeah.
Deshaun Elliott for me.
Deshaun Elliott, yeah. The matchup, Kirby Joseph's probably not going to get a lot of love this week in the back of Detroit's backfield. John's going 5-2. Congrats. He's going up against the other 5-2 team. Soon to be 5-3, John. Soon to be 5-3. I starting Purdy over JD5 this week. Non-PPR league. Start 2 of the 3 guys. Jacoby Myers, Bruce Hubbard, or Stevenson. Can you sit Jaden Daniels over Purdy?
Oh, we're starting there. I mean, if you're, it's ribs, right? I mean, sounds like a pretty easy spot to get re-aggravated. I do get the hesitation there, but I mean, scared money don't make money either, right? So, Daniels has, I think, a greater signability to give you 40 this week than Purdy would. So, and is Deron Bland actually back this week, fully healthy? Is that Cowboys secondary get a little shot of a life in the back end of it too? And then Purdy's working with you. Debo's supposed to be in, but Juwan Jennings is out. Yeah, I mean, I get you. I can definitely see the case, and I very likely would have Jaden Daniels in there as well, but I wouldn't be against the safe play of Purdy either if that's the consideration.
Okay. Now we got to pick two of these three: Jacoby Myers, Chuba Hubbard, or Stevenson. It's a non-PPR. Jacoby Myers is coming off of an ankle injury. He's supposed to play. He hasn't played for 2 weeks. I'm going to lean Hubbard and Stevenson in a touchdown league.
Yeah, I could be talked into that.
I have Bowers at tight end, so I kind of like the Bowers-Myers combo. I almost think that's a reason to pivot away from Myers even more, don't you, Jake?
I mean, yeah, you talked about, right? Like you like to diversify, but I mean, if it's the times that works, right, is when it's a true funnel. If 50% of the targets are truly going to Bowers and Myers, well, then that's good regardless, right? Because 25% target share to a wide receiver or a tight end is very, very ideal in terms of what you want in your fantasy lineup. But it's all about the quality of the targets then at that point is the argument, right? Is Aiden O'Connell, is Minshew going to give them something that's even worthwhile, right? The fact that they brought in Desmond Ritter, right? Maybe the confidence in Minshew is waning there pretty quickly. I don't know. It's tough. He said it is full PPR. So, I mean, if you're talking
non-PPR.
Oh, did he? You're right.
Non-PPR league.
I went to a state school. My readings, comprehension's pretty weak.
We can work on it. There's interventions for that.
Yeah. God, it's just Hubbard's.
That's why the non-PPR gave me pause.
Let's do it. Let's Hubbard Stevenson. Full ride. Let's go.
Yeah. And Myers only has one touchdown on the season, so it's not like they're
right.
A lot of goal line looks. So where are we at? Here we are. Ernest Jones, Dobbins, or Wallace?
Dotson, right?
I got to go Dobson. Yeah, Dodson. I got to go Dodson there. Ernest Jones probably won't play a full complement of snaps.
Wallace has the jewel question.
A little bit of a fade. Yeah.
So Wallace still a strong play, but yeah, Dotson's out of this group for sure.
Yep. Good luck to you, Ray.
Higgins is out.
He is out.
Yeah, we're at that 10:30 time, right? So we've passed that. Okay. So all those inactives, actives. I mean, we're 20 minutes behind here, 30 minutes behind. Whoops. Yeah. So he's out.
All right. So Pearsall in a first true test with Samuel and stuff like that. Tyrone Tracy, Bucky Irvin, Owens, Wicks are doing it.
To me, it's Pearsall or Wicks. Tracy's a great option too, potentially, but Singletary, I still feel like we don't know the full story in that backfield. Same with Bucky. So to me, it's Pearsall with Debo in, get the man beating treatment where they're trying to look for him for some of those deeper shots downfield. But Wicks, I just love Wicks, man. I'm great route runner in my opinion. He's got a good quarterback throwing on the ball.
Pearsall's like that guy literally coming off the injury.
I'm
they had the meme this week about they had the meme about him coming, like the guy was shot 3 weeks ago and he's the healthiest wide receiver in the room. So but yeah,
to me it's Wicks.
Yeah. Rogue, we're looking at the waiver wire. Grab Pistol Pete. Nope. Peyton Wilson. Yep. Gino or Tua? These are both.
I'm going Tua.
Pretty decent.
Gino will get you the yardage. He hasn't delivered the touchdown unless we really think positive touchdown regression is in play for Gino. I like what Tua can do with that offense. I think they lay a big one out there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Tua too. I think that offense is clicks, and it sounds like they had a great week of practice, so everyone's pretty pumped. Trade ETN for Chase Brown.
I wouldn't. Chase Brown isn't getting enough passing work for me to say that he's taking over that backfield where I think ETN and his pass work, if fully healthy, can be great there. I would do it if you can get Chase Brown plus. If you can get something else to really kind of sweeten that. That's my personal take on it, though.
Yep. Yeah, I can't do that right now. Eric Wilson or Isaiah McDusty. Gotta go Wilson.
Yep.
McDusty's been losing snaps every week, so Travis has one pick: Kenneth Murray, Bobby Okereke, or Trenton Simpson.
Murray.
Murray, know my answer on that one. JP, good morning, guys. I've been sitting on Campbell, but feeling like this matchup versus Tennessee is too good. Would you rather go Campbell, Highsmith, Bond? Thanks.
I like Highsmith out of that group.
I do too. The sack opportunity, big plays. So we're going to go Highsmith there.
Yep.
Good luck to you, JP. Wandell, Moss, or Bucky?
Full PPR, that's Wandell.
Yeah. Which Moss are we talking?
Zach Moss, I'm guessing, for the Bengals.
Yeah, it's got to be Wandell Robinson then.
Maybe Randy Moss
heads in Tampa. Makes that decision easy for us. Maybe Riley Moss. Maybe you got some weird cornerback league. So
full flex.
Full flex. Yeah. Fantasy sports. Hey guys, should I drop Wallace, Cashman back next week, or Dodson for Kaiser White or Josie Jewell?
I want to keep Cashman personally.
I do too.
If you need the win this week, like you just need that play, I would drop. God, maybe Dotson.
I almost like
White.
I was actually leaning Wallace myself.
But that's where I was.
Sounds like there's a lot of there's a lot of options on the waiver wire, so it's not like you're hurting, So because if White and Jewell are available, I'm going to drop Wallace. I think he's easier replaceable talent. So
definitely get White on your roster. I'm comfortable either Wallace or Dotson for it. So I would lean Wallace with Jeff.
Chuba or Tank? Is ETN this week?
That is a good question. I'm blanking on that. Come on, Google. Hamstring inactive. So that's full Chuba.
No, full Tank. Then if ETN is out.
Oh, yeah, full Tank. Yeah. Whoops.
Yeah. Yes. Do not listen to Jake. We are going Tank Bigsby here. Yes.
Listen to me. ETN's out, but don't listen to me. Yeah. Play Bigsby.
Unless he's playing you. Is that why you told him to do that? So right. Did Dotson lose value now with the trade and not being with the mic? Similar to, do you think Wallace's value goes down with Jewell?
I think a little bit.
Seattle's shown the ability though to support two linebackers.
100%.
So I don't think that he will fall off a cliff. I still think you're solidly in that linebacker 2 range still.
But I think from where he was is where he steps down, right? Like, I mean, they clearly feel a need to make that move. They've made a thing to make it publicly known, right? Like he says that Dotson's moving out of the mic role. So I think there is a slight potential bump down in value, but yeah, he's locked in 2 linebacker sets.
Yeah. And I do think Wallace takes a little bit of hit with Jewell coming back. Defensive coordinator came with Jewell from Denver, so he's got a soft spot for him. Wallace has been a great story, but just out of necessity with injuries there. So I think that he does take a little bit more of a hit. Luke Skywalker wants to know, he added Hopkins and Rashid White. Do they both have higher upside than Hopkins?
I mean, Chuba Hubbard's done so much that I'm hesitant on Jonathan Brooks this season. He could be something more, but I would hold at this point. And it's kind of the same with Kareem Hunt, right? Like, what is Pacheco coming back to? So I like Rashad White for you right now, especially this week. To me, Rashad White's in this week over Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins, it's tough to know what that offense is going to look like and how he's going to get utilized. So if you Skywalker have an affinity towards Brooks or Pacheco, definitely pick him up over Hopkins in my opinion. And I'd personally lean Brooks, I guess, just unknown upside, and the ability to beat out a Chuba Hubbard. But Hubbard's look good.
Yep. And I think you had a spot here with White too. I think that White may be kind of the PPR darling now in Tampa. Mm-hmm. Once again, they lost 2 of their big play catchers. I think that there's going to be a little more check down by a Baker. So I think that that's a sneaky play. The other part of this is, do you really want to have a wide receiver in Hopkins in Kansas City and Pacheco as the running back there? Like maybe a little diversifying again, going with Brooks, just being a different play, different team. So Good luck to you there. Trent McDuffie, J.C. Horn, or Lenore if he plays tonight against Dallas. I can't imagine Vegas does anything much worth the passing game to make McDuffie relevant.
And he
Same with
hasn't been getting
Denver.
all the looks in the slot either.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's got to be Lenore, right?
yeah, I'm just trying to look at injury reports here. I guess I didn't see enough or hear enough to know that he was a possible miss or in consideration.
Yep. Yes, it is going very well, Josh. Any morning we get to talk football is a great morning. So as Jake looks that up, we're going to look here.
It was illness on Friday, limited.
Oh.
I have no concerns for Lenore. I think he can recover from that with the 2 days.
Yeah. Harry wants to know, should I start Hamilton versus Cleveland or Newbin versus Pittsburgh?
I like the upside of Hamilton better.
I do too. I think this is going to be a big week. I think that Winston just comes out chucking the ball around the yard. So Harry wants to know, do I start Lucan this week? No, do not start a Lucan this week.
No.
With every team nobody on a bye, I think we got a lot of options. Again, Lucan wasn't getting full snaps prior to the injury. Not sure what it's going to look like coming back. So we'll give him a week to see what we got in the Jacksonville linebacker room. The Laker kid, we got a full PPR. Do I start Drake London or McLaurin this week?
I like London
here.
Yeah.
Roguru, I have a few expendable players and want to make some room to grab Owe. Drop any of these. Eric Wilson, Sherwood, or Justin Simmons. Simmons for me.
Simmons.
I don't know if he's even startable. I know he's dinged up this week and not playing, but he just too deep. Doesn't.
Yep.
Better real life player than
he's interception dependent for me, right? Like he's got to make that big play in the back end, which he can. But I like Owe this week way more than holding on to Simmons.
Got a quarterback question: Jaden Daniels or Russ?
I mean, if Jaden Daniels is a go, that's easy for me. And the nice thing is Russ plays after him, so you just wait to see, like, come game time for Washington. If he's in my lineup. If not, you pivot to Russ and you're safe. So
yeah, because they got that 4:00 start. So I think you're right, Jake. I'm Jaden Daniels if he plays, and then got that safe pivot if not. Tank Dell or Xavier Worthy or Olave? Snow.
God, that is tough. I'm gonna go Dell. Again, I'm biased, full transparency, but like I said, he's dropped 2 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks, and they're catches that he normally does make. So I think this is just something where I don't know. I'm buying into all the coach speak that and the beat reporters talking about how Houston's offensive line is turning it around this week, and it's just going to be a better week overall for that offense.
No, I'm with you. I think so. Roguru, team one sleeper. Oh, is that following up with this question here about expendable players? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep. It does get a lot of points for interceptions, but they're such a hard thing to predict, worse than sacks. So
yeah.
Mostert or Wandell.
Full PPR too.
He says PPR. Yeah. So I'm fully going Wandell here.
Okay. I'll lean with you. It's pretty close for me, but yeah, I mean, full PPR definitely favors Wandale.
Yeah. Quinnen Williams, Keon White, or Karlaftis or Van Noy. Picking one.
Probably Van Noy, honestly, actually. I really love that matchup against Cincinnati this week.
Keon White's kind of cool off here a little bit.
Yeah.
Does Karlaftis?
George is, let's see, Las Vegas is middle of the road in terms of pressures, sacks. Van Noy for me this week.
Yep. He's been just getting it done.
Yep.
Ever since they put in that new eye when he got his orbital bone cracked, he's been locked in.
Bionic man.
Just been seeing the game differently. So, hey, Antonio, what's up with you? We got a question here. He's got a guillotine question. Last IDP spot, Spectre or Granderson? Leaning Spectre. I think you are leaning the right direction.
Agreed
there, sir. Zach Bond or Ernest Jones? Zach Bond,
Bond.
pretty easily. I think we're a little skeptical on
we
the
want
number
to
of
see it
snaps Jones is
first.
going to play.
Yep.
One spot to Forrest Buckner or Quinn and Williams. Kenyon White. Didn't we just got that one? Chase Brown or Achan Jacobs or Mixon are my other two.
Oh, that's easy Achan for me then. You got a lot of safety in Jacobs and Mixon. Win the week with Achan.
Yep.
When he's played with Tua, it's like 27 points per game PPR. I mean, you just
start 3 in a tackle focus league. Foye, Kenneth Murray, Kendricks, Speed, JOK. So Foye is out for sure.
Yep.
For me, Kenneth Murray and Speed are in for sure, and that leaves us JOK or Kendricks.
I'm leaning JOK. I'm a fan of what he's done this year. I was a fan of his game coming in, so I just think he's finally got the volume to go with the playmaking.
And Jordan Hicks is out this week, so that helps as well. Good opportunities. Mario, hey guys, starting 2 in a tackle heavy league. Sherwood, Ernest Jones, or Sternad? It's got to be Sternad and Sherwood on these two just because of the volume, right? We don't know what Jones is going to do.
Yeah, but I get that. That's a tough one though, right? With just the uncertainty of all of them.
Tony Robbins, Ashton Davis are inactive. Chuck Clark and I are. Who is this play for the Jets this week? It might be Sherwood. Jalen Mills.
Yeah, I think Jalen Mills he was the other starting safety last week. Ashton Davis got the bump out. It was funny. I was watching that game. Ashton Davis was actually, when they do like the players and they're like, Jake Kohlhagen, University of Wisconsin. Like Ashton Davis was the one who got the nod to like do that part of it. But Jalen Mills was the guy who started, and Ashton Davis didn't come in until there was an injury to Tony Adams. And then he got injured himself. So, but Mills was the guy who was out there 100%. So. Yeah. Oh, so yeah, back to that one.
So yeah, he's got those guys. I don't think Eric Wilson is over any of those guys. I think we stick with those 3.
Oh, is Quay Walker officially out? Quay Walker's inactive officially. So good job, first of all, Corleone, for checking the inactives, as we mentioned.
Yep.
So anybody here who was wondering, or had questions about it potentially, Eric Wilson is the go. Right, because Quay Walker is not.
Hewitt or Kaiser White. I see that Jason 202 are inactive. Thanks. I'm probably still leaning Kaiser White in this one, even with those 2 inactive. Kaiser White's he's got a good week, good matchup.
Yep.
Derwin James, Brandon Jones, or Julian Blackman. Is it too easy just to say Derwin James?
Yeah, Brandon Jones, I love his utilization and alignment, but I just don't know what that Panthers offense is going to do this week with Bryce Young. So Derwin feels like the safest and possibly best answer overall too.
Hendrickson or Van Noy. I know we confessed our love for Van Noy earlier, but that was with a different
good this year.
He has been playing for a contract.
Yeah. He's got Philly. I'm going to go Hendrickson actually here. Even I think I just like that Philadelphia allows a ton of pressures. Jalen Hurts has the ability to avoid, and it shows in the limited number of sacks actually converted off of those pressures. But Hendrickson is he's an outlier to me in what he's done this year so far. So I'm going to lean into, if he's going to get the opportunity to pressure Hurts, he's going to turn that into a sack. So I'm going to go Hendrickson over Van Noy.
All right. Best of luck to you, Travis. Fantasy Sports wants to know Oluokun. Oluokun, Zaire Franklin, Kaiser White, Dotson, or Wallace. Certain 3. So
Franklin White.
Franklin's in, Kaiser White's in, and then Dotson is in.
Yeah. I like him over Trevin this week.
Tua or Patrick McCombs, half-point PPR. Tua?
Patrick's not going to catch anything, so
yeah, right. Yeah.
I like Tua.
Tua or Purdy in a full-point PPR.
Oh, yeah. Again, Tua's going to have more catches. No,
Yeah,
I like Tua. I think that offense eats this week. I really do against the Cardinals defense. So
I do too. Yeah, hoping for a
And I have
shootout,
no-
and I could use some.
Yep.
Clint, guys with the inactives, please pick one. Hewitt, Overshone, Eric Wilson.
I like Wilson over Hewitt personally. So, and Overshone
Would you like him
is a
over
safe one.
Overshone?
Yeah, I'm going to go with it. You know what? I'm going to lean into Eric Wilson this week with the confidence, obviously, with Quay Walker out.
Okay.
So,
All right. We got to go Lubu here, right? Just because of volume. Most welcome, Zach Allen or
Zach Allen.
Yeah. Yep. Zay Flowers or Tank Dell?
Did
Zay Flowers, is he active? I know that he had an injury desi most of the week.
I thought they said he was going to play. Do they have?
Okay. All right.
I'm trying to.
Yeah, and then I almost got to go Zay Flowers there, huh?
Zay Flowers is in. He's active. So yes,
Got to
Zay
roll
Flowers.
him.
Sorry.
Got to roll him. Yep. Zay Flowers. Antonio, deep dynasty question. Can't stash Lowy or Cade Stover. Polk is inactive for the Pats. Javon Baker available. Do either of those guys drop for Baker?
I love Lowy coming out, but I mean he has gotten no chances in a running back room that's looked pretty bad at times, and he's got very few chances. And when he has, I think he's already fumbled once for sure, maybe twice on the season. I just think that honestly, Lowy is a zero for this year. And, you know, and if nothing, and he might be something you can go back and circle to in the offseason if you're still thinking he could be a thing. I bet you he'll be available in the offseason on the waiver wires, and you can reorganize your roster at that point. But for this year right now, if you think Baker's got the shot, I would drop Lowy for him.
Yeah, I'm with you. And it is a Patriots fan league, so I'll be a little more added incentive there with that one. So, Stephen, do I start Nakobe Dean or Ernest Jones? It's got to be Dean, right? Yep. This week and rest of summer, thanks. So, summer's question.
Ooh, that was a while ago.
It was. It felt like summer ago that we answered that question.
I am. Wow.
I'm struggling to find it here.
Me too. There we go. Tough decision choosing 4 between Levante David. It's at 9:08 was the timestamp. Levante David.
It was in the summer.
Nick Bolton, Trevin Wallace, Brian Burns. So I think when we answered that question, we talked about this week. I did not consider rest of season. So rest of season, what are you thinking here?
Probably Brian Burns, Levante David. You know, I think losing Servoise Dennis helps David's numbers quite a bit here. So I'm going to go Burns, David. I think Trevin Wallace was a great hot story for a couple of weeks, but we've seen those flashes and pans, opportunities. Great dynasty stash, but I don't think he's going to be it for the rest of the season. I want to say Bolton season long. He's probably going to have some relevancy. And then maybe Zach Bond and then Tyrion Johnson just because of the position that he plays. But you got anything vastly different there, Jake, with any of those?
No, I might have Tyrion Johnson and Zach Bond just a little bit closer, just because Tyrion Johnson's been such a thing for so long in his role, whereas Zach Bond could be a flash in the pan, even if it is just 1 year, right? So I think those two for me are just maybe neck and neck, but I think everything else you talked through is spot on.
Foye Oluokun is officially healthy, ready to go. So not that we needed any more Foye questions, but you are most welcome. Well, Jake, that will put us right at about 2 hours. We went through a flurry of questions. We're all caught up. I appreciate all of your efforts today. It was a grinder. We had a lot of questions all over the map. So
we did. It was fun. It was awesome. all the listeners, all the questions here. You guys are great. So I always look forward to these opportunities, man. They're fun. Good time being with you, Jeff. Great time with the people here. So best of luck to everyone this week. It's gonna be a heck of a week.
Well, Jake, enjoy your vacation, and then make sure you come back in about 2 weeks, and we'll do this all again, huh?
Sounds good, sir.
All right. To everyone out there listening, have a fantastic week. Best of luck to you in week 8, and we'll catch you back here in week 9. Have a great day, and best of luck. We out.